question is now that I've been getting more into cosplaying and crafting large props, I'll often find that I'll hit a block. And I don't know how to get over that block. And kind of how you were saying, you dip in your confidence level. What do you do to kind of get over that block? Is there something that you do, or?
I hit those blocks too. They flummox me. Often I think through the problem. That's the main thing that'll happen. So I come to a place where I don't know how to make a seam work, or I don't know how to join these two shapes together in a way that makes sense, or I try something and it's totally a failure, and now I have to redo it, and I really have to think it through. But for me, it's this process of just sort of ingesting the problem and thinking it, and I'm not obsessively thinking about it. I'm just sort of got it running in the background, and eventually the solution becomes really, really clear. And that is also the benefit of 30, 40 years of making. But to a certain extent, taking the time away from the build is really important. Maybe playing around with other processes and thinking about ways in which it might go together. And then, look, sometimes I will just pack something up if I hit a real snag and I know it's going to be like, oh, it's going to take me 3 days just to start solving this problem again, and I won't have 3 days until November. I'll pack it up in a box with notes, and I'll put it up on the big shelf of uncompleted projects so it can stare at me for a few months. Do you have a big rack of uncompleted projects?
Yeah, I mean, we all are challenged by that. For hobbyist model makers, don't set a deadline so that you can step away from it. You know, in a professional career, of course, deadlines are the galloping horse that's always driving you forward. And we all make cock-ups. I make some insanely silly decisions around my own hobby work, and my wife requires the greatest of faith because she sees me make these mistakes. She's like, and they cost money, of course, but not having a deadline in your own hobby work is lovely, because exactly as Adam has just said, I just put them on hold and go and start something else and come back to it, which is very, very beneficial.
Now, you actually remind me of something, which is one of the ways I solve a problem that feels unsolvable is I ask myself, what would I do if I was on the clock? And then the answer is really always radically different than, I'm in my shop and I could make it gearing and I could have red felt on the inside and it could be really pretty. And it's like, this is a deadline-free trip to nowhere. Yeah. Whereas if I'm on the clock and my supervisor's waiting for this by the next morning, I don't have any luxury at all. I have to solve this problem right now. And deadlines, I love deadlines for this because they really do refine the mind in terms of the number of, they start hacking limbs off the decision tree.
Yeah, just in doubt, grab the hot glue gun and a roll of gaffer tape.
She'll be right.
Yeah, she'll be right. Yeah.